He walked away from an estimated $4.5 million a year at the exact moment his channel was growing faster than almost anything else on YouTube. Luke Nichols, the man behind Outdoor Boys, a channel that accumulated over 18 million subscribers filming family camping and survival adventures in Alaska, posted a 4-minute video on May 17, 2025, said goodbye, and went quiet. By the end of this story, you'll understand not just why he left, but what he's been building since, and why the people who know this channel well say his exit might be the most consistent thing he ever did. The story starts in Anchorage, Alaska, where Luke Joseph Nichols was born in October 1978. Growing up in Alaska in the late 70s and 80s was not suburban. It was cold rivers and dense forests and fishing trips with his father and grandfather before he was old enough to hold a rod properly. That's where the outdoor instincts were formed. Not as a hobby he picked up in adulthood, but as the baseline of what normal life looked like. At 19, Luke left Alaska for the first time. He had been called to serve a 2-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the assignment sent him to Japan. He later described it as the most formative experience of his life. He learned the language. He immersed himself in a culture completely unlike the one he came from. And when he returned to the United States, he was not the same person who had left. He enrolled at Brigham Young University in Utah, earning a Bachelor of Science in Political Science. It was there he met Rebecca, the woman who would eventually become his wife, his co-creator, and the person most responsible for the decision that would define his entire public legacy. After college, Luke didn't go straight into law. He tried something else first: political consulting. He ran approximately 20 campaigns over 3 years. He was good at it, but the hours were relentless, and the environment, as he put it himself, was not good for family life. He wanted something steadier, something he could build a future around. That search led him to George Mason University's Antonin Scalia Law School in Fairfax, Virginia, where he earned his Juris Doctorate in criminal defense law. He co-founded a firm called Nichols & Green PLLC, built a practice focused on traffic defense, DUI, and reckless driving cases in Northern Virginia. And for the better part of a decade, that was Luke Nichols, a husband, a father, a lawyer who went camping on weekends. But here's the part that changes everything about what you just heard. The YouTube channel that would eventually reach 18 million subscribers didn't begin as a creative ambition. It began as a business tool. In 2013, while still running his law firm, Luke launched a channel called Catfish and Carp. The original purpose was straightforward: create content to drive traffic to the firm, build a digital presence, attract clients. It was a marketing strategy, not a passion project. But something unexpected happened. People actually watched the fishing videos. Not because of the law firm connection. Most viewers had no idea Luke was an attorney. But because the content itself was genuinely good, patient, specific, educational. The kind of fishing content that treated the audience like they actually knew what they were doing. Some of those early videos broke 1 million views. For a side project filmed between client meetings, that was a signal impossible to ignore. By 2015, Luke launched a second channel, Outdoor Boys. The idea was to expand beyond fishing into the broader outdoor lifestyle: camping, survival skills, bushcraft, family adventures, without disrupting the catfish and carp audience who had come specifically for fishing. 2 channels with 2 distinct purposes. Clean separation. What most of his subscribers never knew, and still don't, is that a significant portion of the early Outdoor Boys content was filmed not in Alaska's backcountry, but in the parks, rivers, and trail systems of Northern Virginia, the suburbs of Washington, D.C. Luke was a working attorney, a father of young boys, living in Fairfax County. The Alaska adventures came later. What built the channel in the beginning was Luke filming what he could, where he could, and making it compelling enough that nobody noticed the difference. By 2020, the math changed. YouTube revenue from both channels had surpassed what the law firm was generating. Luke shut down the practice. Full-time content creator. That was the pivot that set everything in motion. Most people who know this story stop here, but the real story starts right now. The full-time focus changed the content. Luke moved his family back to Alaska, and the channel shifted into something more extreme, more immersive, and, it turned out, completely aligned with what YouTube's algorithm was rewarding at the time. The solo survival format became the signature. Multi-day trips into genuine wilderness, minimal gear, real conditions, not staged, not scripted, just a man, a camera, and whatever Alaska decided to throw at him. Solo camping in survival shelter during snowstorm became the breakout video. 74 million views. Not a fluke, a signal. Another video, stranded in Alaska's rainforest, 3 days solo camping, pulled 39 million. These weren't polished productions with cinematic drone shots and sponsored callouts. They were close, intimate, slightly rough around the edges, and that authenticity is exactly what drove the numbers. What followed was one of the more unusual growth curves in outdoor YouTube history. The channel had grown steadily from 2015 to around 2023, accumulating several million subscribers through consistent, quality output. Then something shifted in the algorithm's favor. The solo survival content began circulating beyond the channel's existing audience, and the subscriber count started moving at a pace Luke had never experienced before. In the 18 months leading up to May 2025, Outdoor Boys gained approximately 12 million subscribers. Two-thirds of the channel's entire audience arrived in that single window. The channel went from a well-respected mid-tier creator to one of the fastest-growing channels on the entire platform. At the moment Luke posted his farewell video, the channel had 15.3 million subscribers. Within months of him going quiet, the passive algorithm continued sending new viewers to the archive. By mid-2026, the subscriber count had grown to nearly 20 million on a channel that had stopped uploading. The number that came next, nobody who followed this channel expected it. Before understanding why Luke walked away, it helps to understand what exactly he was walking away from. At peak activity, Outdoor Boys was generating an estimated $4.5 million per year in YouTube ad revenue alone. That figure comes from industry analysts and is based on the channel's view volume, CPM rates for the outdoor niche, and upload frequency at the time. It doesn't account for potential sponsorship deals, merchandise, or the Catfish and Carp channel's additional income, which had grown to over 1 million subscribers of its own. The content theft situation made the real reach even larger. Luke stated directly in his goodbye video that because other accounts were stealing and reposting his videos across social media platforms, his family had collectively been viewed 4 billion times, on top of the 2.8 billion views recorded directly on his own YouTube channel. That's a combined viewing figure that puts him alongside some of the most watched content on the internet. And he was a criminal defense attorney from Northern Virginia. He also had 1,110 total videos across 11 years of consistent output. The physical cost of that, late-night editing sessions, gear packing and unpacking before every trip, camping while ill, rebuilding a homestead with an injury, is a detail he mentioned deliberately. The channel looked effortless from the outside. From the inside, it consumed most of his waking hours. And through all of it, all 11 years, all 18 million subscribers, all the viral videos, comments on the Outdoor Boys channel remained disabled, entirely, permanently. This wasn't a glitch or a temporary setting. It was a choice Luke made and never reversed. In an era where creator engagement is treated as gospel, he ran one of the biggest outdoor channels in the world without a single public comment thread. Nobody asked him why. The channel grew anyway. And if you think that was surprising, stay with me because this next part is why the whole story matters. On May 17, 2025, a Saturday, Luke Nichols uploaded a video titled Goodbye. It was 4 minutes long. No dramatic music, no montage of his greatest hits, just Luke, speaking directly to the camera, walking through the reasoning behind a decision he had clearly been considering for some time. He acknowledged the growth. He acknowledged the income. He acknowledged the community. And then he explained, in plain language, why none of it was enough to keep going. The sheer volume of fans trying to contact me, trying to take pictures with me, or just trying to come up and talk to me in public. It can be a bit overwhelming at times, he said. My wife and I, we both have real concerns about what this will do to our family if I keep growing my YouTube channel at this pace. The key phrase was not the part about fame. It was what came next. And the time to stop is before this problem gets so out of hand that my family and I can't live normal lives. He wasn't describing a crisis that had already happened. He was describing the trajectory and choosing to exit before it arrived. That's a different thing entirely, and it's a distinction most commentary about this story missed. He also said something that revealed more about his value system than any of the outdoor content ever had. Even good things can be taken too far, and I think I'm starting to reach that point. The response was immediate, and unlike almost anything in the recent history of creator departures. Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy posted a public tribute. Reddit filled with fans who had never commented anywhere writing personal testimonials about what the channel had meant to their families. People who watched as a weekend ritual with my wife. People whose fathers had bonded with them over the solo winter camping videos. One commenter wrote, "This man came out of nowhere, comments turned off, made thousands of hours of quality videos, gained 14 million subscribers, quit at the very top of his game to protect his family." The internet noticed. For once, a creator walked away clean. Here's what the comments kept asking, and here's the answer they never got, until now. The narrative in most coverage of Luke's retirement framed it as a subtraction. A man giving up fame, giving up income, stepping back from something huge. That framing missed the larger arc entirely. In his goodbye video, Luke mentioned wanting to spend more time helping his eldest son Tom, who had already launched his own channel called Outdoor Tom and had 832,000 subscribers at the time. He also referenced wanting to focus on other people, a phrase that was vague enough in May 2025 that most viewers let it pass. It became significantly less vague by December. On December 9, 2025, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced that Luke Nichols had been appointed to the Young Men General Advisory Council, a formal advisory body serving the church's global youth ministry for young men aged 12 to 18. He began serving December 1. He was one of 14 men called to the council from backgrounds including education, technology, business, sports, and public service. The appointment wasn't a retirement consolation prize. It was a leadership role within one of the world's largest religious organizations, with responsibility for shaping programs that affect millions of young men worldwide. For a man who had described his faith as the thing that makes me happy and gives me satisfaction and joy, more than fishing, more than building a homestead, more than running a channel with 15 million people watching, it was the most direct expression of his actual priorities that anyone had seen in 11 years of public life. In between the farewell video and the council announcement, Luke had done exactly what he promised. In November 2025, he returned to upload the 3 final videos he'd mentioned, one per Saturday, as he had said he would. Then he was photographed at a fishing shop in Japan, quietly on holiday, and the photo went viral because fans recognized him immediately and were desperate to see proof he was okay. One phone call, one conversation, that's all it took to change the direction of everything. The quieter story running parallel to all of this is the one happening on a smaller channel called Outdoor Tom. Tom Nichols, Luke's eldest son, had started his own YouTube channel while his father was still active. By the time Luke posted his farewell, Tom had 832,000 subscribers. By November 2025, that number had grown to 1.57 million, with a short video titled Dad's Knife Collection alone pulling 10 million views. The audience didn't disappear when Outdoor Boys went dark. A significant portion simply redirected toward Tom, exactly as Luke had hoped. In May 2026, approximately a year after his retirement, Luke appeared on Tom's channel for a video documenting Tom's first solo camping trip. The setup was notable. Luke camped a short walkie-talkie distance away while Tom built his own shelter, made his own fire, and cooked his own food in the Alaskan wilderness. Luke was close enough to help if needed, far enough away that the camera told the truth. This was Tom's adventure, not his father's. That same month, Luke returned to George Mason University, the law school where he had earned his JD years earlier, to deliver the commencement address for the Antonin Scalia Law School graduating class of 2026. He told the graduates that survival wasn't just a wilderness skill. Survival is not something we just do in the woods, something each and every one of us has to do every single day. He advised them to save money for flexibility and to stay ready for both challenges and unexpected opportunities. The man who had built a channel around surviving in extreme conditions was now teaching a different kind of survival. To lawyers, to young men in a global church, and to a teenage son learning to camp alone in the same Alaskan wilderness his father had once filmed for 18 million strangers. At this point in the story, most people walked away. What he did instead is the part nobody talks about. In late November or early December 2025, while most of the YouTube community was still processing Luke's retirement, he quietly did something that received almost no mainstream attention. A fellow outdoor YouTuber named Steven Smith, who runs a channel called My Life Outdoors, was managing a genuinely difficult situation. His wife had been diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer and was in the middle of a demanding 22-week chemotherapy program. Steven was simultaneously raising 4 children, caring for his wife, and trying to keep his YouTube channel active. Luke reached out. He traveled to Alaska, spent a cold night alone in the Alaskan wilderness, filmed an entire video, and sent it to Steven to be posted exclusively on My Life Outdoors so that Steven wouldn't have to worry about producing content during one of the hardest periods of his family's life. Steven wrote publicly about it. "I'm incredibly honored and grateful for the support of my new friend Luke Nichols. He came out of retirement and endured a cold night in the Alaskan wilderness just to film a video on my behalf." The response in the outdoor YouTube community was significant. "The GOAT came out of retirement to help a friend." One comment read, "What a legend." What's worth noting is that this wasn't a collaboration designed to drive traffic to a new project, or a carefully timed return announcement, or any of the other strategies a creator might use to maintain relevance after stepping away. Luke didn't post the video on his own channel. He didn't use it to signal a comeback. He made it, handed it over, and disappeared again. That single act said more about why he left YouTube than anything in the farewell video itself. The man was never performing a character. He was just being himself. And when the channel got too large for the self to remain intact, he closed the channel. Luke Nichols didn't fail on his way out. He succeeded so completely that staying became incompatible with the life he had decided mattered most. Right now, he's mentoring Tom toward the next generation of the family legacy, serving in a global church leadership role focused on young men and appearing occasionally, fishing in Japan, camping at walkie-talkie range from his teenager, speaking to law graduates, in ways that suggest a man who is exactly where he intended to land. Outdoor Boys still has nearly 20 million subscribers on a channel that hasn't published new content in over a year. The archive still drives views. The legacy is still visible. He just isn't feeding it anymore. Here's the question the story leaves behind. Luke Nichols was earning an estimated $4.5 million a year and growing faster than almost any creator on the platform, and he chose to stop. Do you think he made the right call? Or was walking away from that kind of momentum at that exact moment the one decision he'll eventually regret?